But a good little man, which would be Crawford, just has never.
Hey, this is Shit Talk with Shitty. I'm just looking at this. I'm looking at this video that Showbiz put out about Crawford is the GOAT if he beats Canelo. So I'm just gonna sit back and look at it. I haven't seen it yet, and I'm gonna make my comments as it goes through. I'll pause it and comment on it. But that shit is laughable. Here we go.
Beat a good big man, which would be Canelo. In the history of the sport, it just now if Crawford can do it, Jesus Lord, I mean, give this man, I mean, the title of being the greatest ever.
Oscar De La Hoya is making a perfect point. A point that I've been making. But before we get
De La Hoya is not making a point. He is being sarcastic. He's just saying some off the wall shit. He didn't literally mean that shit like your crazy ass did. Showbiz, if you think because he beats Canelo, that makes him the all time great, who are you going to take off the all time great list? Because of one fight, because he beat Canelo? Are you smoking crack? Let me finish hearing the rest of your bullshit.
You can go down as one of the historical best fighters ever on the planet.
what Oscar De La Hoya said, I've been saying. Okay, first
And I think both of y'all are sharing the same pipe.
of all, I want you guys to understand there's a lot of Bud Crawford fans who think that we are underestimating Terrence Bud Crawford. No, we understand the value, okay, and the volume of what he's trying to accomplish here. If you walk around and say, oh yeah, you underestimating Bud beats him no problem, then you're taking away the level of this astronomical accomplishment. We get it. We are the ones who get how big of a deal this is. Oscar De La Hoya said,
A good little man, which would be Crawford, just has never beat a good big man, which would be Canelo. In the history of the sport.
okay, I'm going to replace good with great, all right? I can echo that because what he's saying is prime for prime. He said Manny Pacquiao beat him, but he was out of his prime.
That situation and scenario was like totally different. I was at the end of my career and I was a shot fighter and Pacquiao was coming up and he beat me.
He's saying prime for prime. And I know, heavyweight division, Evander Holyfield beat Riddick Bowe. You have Usyk recently beat Tyson Fury. We can all debate if Usyk and Tyson Fury were in their primes, but they're still in the heavyweight division. He's talking about going up weight classes, right? I mean, they both came from cruiserweight or whatever, but they settled in the heavyweight division before taking on, like Holyfield settled in the heavyweight division before taking on Bowe and Foreman and stuff like that. Same with Usyk. This is different, and I know exactly what he means. A small man jumping up to beat a great big man has never happened. We can try to debate that, especially with Sugar Ray Leonard beating Marvelous Marvin Hagler. You guys see that I have it up here. Sugar Ray Leonard came from welterweight. Took pretty much a 5-year hiatus. He fought Kevin Howard in between time once and then was gone. So he retired for like 2-3 years and then fought Kevin Howard, then was gone again for another 2-3 years. And then he took on Marvelous Marvin Hagler, who was a middleweight. Sugar Ray Leonard never been at middleweight, so he jumped from welterweight to middleweight to beat Marvelous Marvin Hagler. So when you look at that comparison, Sugar Ray Leonard, what he did with Marvelous Marvin Hagler, and what Terrence Bud Crawford is trying to do with Canelo Alvarez, which one would be a bigger accomplishment? Though I think Marvelous Marvin Hagler is a greater middleweight than Canelo Alvarez, I think Terrence Crawford, what he's trying to do with Canelo Alvarez, if he's victorious, that will be a bigger accomplishment to me than Sugar Ray Leonard doing what he did with Marvelous.
That's just your whack opinion. When Sugar Ray Leonard, and by the way, he robbed old boy Hagler. Hagler won that fight. That was a bigger accomplishment. That if Crawford happens to beat Canelo, right? That would be a bigger accomplishment, if you ask me. Canelo isn't the same fighter as freaking Hagler. Hagler was a much better fighter than Canelo. As a matter of fact, I believe Hagler would have knocked Canelo's ass out. So I don't even see how you say, because the Crawford goes up and beats, it's a bigger accomplishment. No, it isn't. You better stop smoking that shit, man.
Marvin Hagler. Let me tell you why. Number one, Marvelous Marvin Hagler was always looking at Sugar Ray Leonard. Even in amateurs, he said he wanted to fight him.
I've been prepared all the time, you know, just waiting for the actual day in the moment. I think I've been preparing for this one really all my life.
If Ray Leonard does decide that's enough, I've had it, I'm not going to have a go in my...
You got to make some of that money. I'm tired of people telling me how generous he is and how good friends we are. If I'm such a good friend, give me that big payday then. That's what we want. We want to show real artists and everything else out there, and I believe that it's us that can do it.
All right. I like that. Mike trying to sign me up.
To Marvin Hagler, a fight with this great man, this great champion, could be one of the greatest fights in the history of boxing. But unfortunately, it'll never happen.
Why? Because Marvelous Marvin Hagler was a small middleweight. That's right. Marvelous Marvin Hagler was not a big middleweight. He was a small middleweight, which is why he fought the likes of Duran. He fought the likes of Tommy the Hitman Hearns. He fought the contemporaries, right? He's one of the four kings, so he was middleweight, and everybody else was coming from another weight class. And everyone saw it as a good matchup. So they actually had a natural thing. They had a natural rivalry since amateurs, all right? So it's still diabolical. It's still crazy what Sugar Ray Leonard did. It's literally insane. But still, Marvelous Marvin Hagler was calling Sugar Ray out for years. So it was still a thing that was kind of like, and it was Hagler calling out Sugar, right? Canelo hasn't been calling out Terrence. Actually, they have not been on a course to face each other. It is like so outside of the imagination to even think of them two facing each other. Hell, when Errol Spence was talking about matching up with Canelo, that was still like, are you kidding me? And Canelo didn't reach what he's reached now as undisputed at 168. And when Errol Spence was calling him out, Terrence Crawford was way out of that conversation.
Besides Canelo, and he fights at 168 plus, so I don't see me and him fighting. So
what's the highest you could fight at realistically?
I would say 154 realistic. 154. Them boys get big up there. Them boys get big up there. I'm not a person to toot my own horn too loud to be able to say, oh, well, I can beat the world. You know, I understand there's weight classes for a reason, and I respect the weight classes. I think 154 will be my max, given the age. I'm about to be 36 years old in September, so, you know, I got to take that in consideration as well.
When Sugar Ray fought Marvelous Marvin Hagler, that's at 160. This is at 168, right? Where Marvelous Marvin Hagler also was small for a middleweight, while Canelo Alvarez, he has fought as high as 175. So we're talking about two weight classes north from Hagler, which is Canelo, and you're talking about one weight class below for Terrence Crawford, lower than Sugar Ray Leonard, started at 147. You get what I'm saying? So the leap is greater. On top of that, Terrence Crawford is further from his prime, age-wise, than Sugar Ray Leonard was. So you're talking about a situation where Terrence Crawford, by the time he fights Canelo, he's going to be a week from turning 38. So 38. He's going to be 38 years old, jumping. The gravity of this accomplishment, if Terrence Crawford were to beat Canelo, is just beyond measure. That's why De La Hoya is saying what he's saying. He'll be the greatest fighter of all time. And that's coming from an all-time great fighter. I don't think he'll be the greatest fighter of all time, but like I said, he would be one of the best fighters ever. Not the greatest, all right? Because when it comes to the greatest, you're talking about impact, you're talking about accomplishments, you're talking about all these things, and honestly, Terrence Crawford, what he has accomplished thus far isn't even close to comparing with the greats, all right?
Okay, now you're backtracking. So now you're saying he's not going to be the greatest ever. He'll just be one of the best ever, which, yeah, maybe so he will be if he beats him. But first you said he's going to be the greatest of all time, just like De La Hoya did, which you know that ain't true. So let me hear the rest of your crap.
Oscar De La Hoya, Bernard Hopkins, Sugar Ray Leonard, Sugar Ray Robinson, Muhammad Ali, Joe Louis, those boys. I mean, Henry Armstrong. We could name all these. Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao. He's not. Canelo Alvarez. Terrence Crawford right now hasn't accomplished close to Canelo, right? So he wouldn't be one of the greatest fighters of all time if he beats Canelo, but he'll be one of the best. Physically, one of the best. He would accomplish doing something that has never been done, has never been thought about, let alone being done. I totally agree with Oscar De La Hoya on the gravity of this accomplishment. I don't think he was, you have people in the comments, people reaching out to me, this is why I'm doing this video, saying, Oscar De La Hoya was kind of sounding like you, and I think both of y'all are going too far. No, we're not. This level of accomplishment would be crazy, which is why I just don't see him getting it done.
But I just don't see it. As a fighter, I just don't see it.
I don't see it, but I'm happy he sees it. You don't want Terrence Crawford to walk in like, I don't see it either. No, Terrence Crawford, he sees it getting done. That's what makes it great, all right? He sees it getting done. Canelo Alvarez, though, like I said, when we say great fighter, it is not Terrence Crawford being his all-time great fighter against an okay big guy. It's not Roy Jones versus John Ruiz. It's not that. What it is Terrence Crawford versus a great big guy. It is Roy Jones versus Lennox Lewis. You get what I'm saying? It's not a random heavyweight. It's one of the greatest heavyweights ever against one of the greatest fighters ever in Roy Jones Jr. It's not a random super middleweight with Canelo Alvarez. It's one of the greatest super middleweights of all time against one of the greatest fighters ever in Terrence Crawford. You get what I'm saying? So when we talk about great, it's real, recognized, and real. The reason why they're great. Canelo, like I said, if they were the same size, the fight would be a damn good one. Let alone him being weight classes, just campaigning and accomplishing things that weight classes far above. All I'm saying is, what this video is echoing Oscar De La Hoya's statement to be very close to true. I don't think he'd be the greatest fighter ever, right? I don't think, he can't there's no way he can do anything greater than what Jack Johnson has done. With all the battles Jack Johnson has faced, let alone in the ring. In the ring, by the time he got in the ring, he was carrying the weight of his ancestry. All right, he was carrying ugly American history on his back before he stepped in the ring. What it took for him to get there and become the first black heavyweight champ. Joe Louis was the second. And Joe Louis reigned in a way that no one has ever seen a heavyweight reign ever. Right? So you got those type of accomplishments. Right? Not a black face in the crowd, and Jack Johnson is just beating their hero in front of them all. Ugly America. You cannot beat that greatness. But what I'm saying is, best if Terrence Crawford beats Canelo Alvarez. Canelo. Not if Terrence Crawford becomes undisputed at super middleweight. That's not the thing. If Terrence Crawford beats Canelo at 168, he is top 5. I even got the shirt with the "We Outside."
So you're saying he's going to be top 5 now, huh? Okay. So where is he right now? You put him in the top 5 because he beats Canelo. And right now you're saying he's nothing. He's not even one of the greats ever. He's one of the best ever. So just because he goes up in weight and you say he does this major thing by beating Canelo, he's going to be an all-time great. But that ain't going to happen. I'm just going to let you know right now, if my aunt had balls, he'd be my uncle. Okay? That is so stupid to even argue this debate with you, but it ain't going to happen. But if it did happen, he wouldn't even be in the top 10 of all-time greats. So there you have it, jackass. I don't even think Canelo's an all-time great. He's an all-time great at avoiding Benavidez. He didn't fight the best. He avoided everybody. He cherry-picked his thing. So I don't even think he's a great. So it wouldn't be that big of an accomplishment if he did beat him.
A fighter that you're into, and they did that, I'm pretty sure you're like, yeah, that's right. So all Bud fans are agreeing with me right now, but I don't give it that. I'm just talking about as far as boxing lore, that would be beyond amazing. I'm out.